Now let's look at another disaster called flood. Now flood is basically overflowing of water on areas of land which generally remains dry. So say for example there is a river and on both sides there are lands, right? Now this is land on both sides. Now this river during monsoon, during rainy season receives too much water. And then it overflows, it starts to overflow, meaning it starts to spill. As it begins to spill, it then begins to spill on the areas lying next to it. Okay, so that causes flood. Alright, and these floods, they occur in rivers during the rainy season, mostly during the rainy season, because that's the time when the rivers and the water bodies receive plenty of water. Now sometimes these floods, they take time to actually occur. Okay, they take many time to accumulate the water and then for the flood to actually take place. But other times they happen very quickly. Okay, the water level of the river rises so quickly and it begins to flood in the areas lying next to it. So such quick and rapid flood is called flash flood. Okay, so those are the flood. Now the next type of disaster that we are going to see is called cyclone. Okay, now what is a cyclone? Cyclones are when large or cyclones take place when a large mass of air, when a large amount of air rotates around a center. So if this is a center and the air begins to rotate of low atmospheric pressure, so this point or this center is the center of low atmospheric pressure, and here the large mass of air begins to rotate, and as it rotates, it begins to pick up its pace and it rotates in high speed. Okay, so then it creates a wind with a very high speed, extremely high speed, moving in a circular motion. So this is basically a cyclone. Okay, now in the cyclone, in such wind where the wind rotates very fast, the wind blows towards the center, the wind blows towards the center of the low pressure called the eye. So this right here is the eye. Okay, so the wind blows towards it, towards this center. Okay, that's why they keep rotating that center. They keep rotating around the eye. All right, and such blow of wind and motion of wind, it causes spiral motion. Okay, it causes spiral motion, and this is called cyclones. All right, now cyclones are called with different names. They have different names in different countries. Like for example, in America, cyclones are called hurricanes, and in Asia, cyclones are called typhoons. Okay, so both are same. They are both cyclones, but because of the different country, because of being different parts of the world, they are called by different names in these two parts of the world. All right. Now cyclones also, as you can see from this image, cause large scale destruction and loss of life. All right. Here you can see such rapid and speed motion of the wind. It causes destruction of large area and also leads to loss of life. Okay. So the next disaster that we are going to talk about is drought. Now what is a drought? Now drought is a continuous period of dry weather. We have dry weather, we have wet weather. Wet weather is where we get plenty of rain or some amount of rain, and then we don't have rain, again we get cold, we get winter, and then it becomes little better, little warmer, again we get rain, again we get no rain, right? So there is seasons, but sometimes the dry weather continues to exist for a very long time, for a continuous period without a break. Okay, now such dry weather, a continuous existence of dry weather, is caused by the weather conditions. Okay, now human activities like deforestation, cutting of trees, felling of trees, and changing the course of river and other factors also lead to drought. Okay, they are also causes of drought. Now in drought, in areas where drought takes place, the water is scarce there. So the lack of water is one of the main characteristics of this disaster. Okay, in areas where drought occurs, there the water is very scarce. Okay, the water is very less or sometimes no water. Now long periods of drought, if such drought continues or goes on for a long time, then it leads to, it causes famines. It also causes the formation, it also leads to the formation of deserts. Okay, so these are some of the effects of a drought. Now the next disaster that we are going to talk about is forest fire, fire in the forest. We have heard or we have seen in the news, right? Every year, most of the years, we see how in California the forest fire engulfs the nearby town or large area of the forest, in Australia as well. So what are these forest fires? So forest fires are basically large scale burning of the forest. Okay, not a small portion of burning is not forest fire. Forest fires are large scale burning of forest. The entire forest or the whole of forest gets burnt. Okay. Now, how does such burning takes place? Now, sometimes during the summer, some areas, okay, they receive no rain for many months. Completely no rain for many months. Now with no rain, the forests become very dry and they become very hot and they begin to heat up. Okay, now as they begin to heat up, the leaves, the twigs, the branches which are dry, now they get ignited with the slightest of the spark that is produced as a result of wind, as a result of anything. Okay, so such ignition of leaves and twigs and branches, it causes or it leads to fire, and this fire spreads quickly all over the forest. Okay, now this has a very bad impact, or this has a negative impact on many things. Now first of the thing is that, first and foremost, or the most important impact that it has, is that it puts the lives of flora and fauna of that particular area in danger, in immediate danger. So the plants, the trees and the animals of that forest, of that area, their lives are put in danger. Okay, they are in immediate danger when forest fire takes place. Now when the forest destroys the plants, the trees, the animals, it kills the animals, then it also leads to the disturbance of the ecological balance. In our environment, if we do not have animals, if the animals of an area of one forest environment is destroyed and there are just plants, now that does not have ecological balance. For ecological balance to be okay, the animals have to live alongside the plants, alongside clean air, everything. Okay, so if one of them gets attacked, if one of these elements' life is put in danger, say for example as a result of fire, as a result of flood, then the ecological balance gets disturbed. So when forest fire takes place and engulfs the entire forest with its animals and plants, that leads to the disturbance of the ecological balance of that forest environment. Okay. Now forest fires also is caused by man-made factors. Sometimes we go to the forest, or we go for a picnic, or we go on a hike, or people go there to graze their animals, and as they go to the forest, sometimes we light fire, or we smoke cigarettes, or we light the matches or candle, and then we do not pay attention to make sure that we are not lighting, or we are not putting the leaves on fire, or we are making sure that no spark remains. But if we are careless, then that leads to also small fire, and that small fire rapidly spreads all over the forest and causes forest fire. So human beings and their carelessness are also many times responsible for the cause of forest fires. Okay. So in this picture you can see how deadly forest fires can be. Now the next disaster that we are going to look at is called snow avalanche. Now snow avalanche, this kind of disaster takes place in the mountains. Okay, snow avalanche is also called snow slide because of how the snow slides off. All right. Now the snow avalanche disaster is where the snow, it flows rapidly from the slope of the mountain. So a huge mass of snow flows rapidly off the slope of the mountain, and it sweeps off everything from its way. Okay. Now snow avalanche or snow slide takes place or occurs more often during winter and spring. It does not occur in summer, it does not occur in rainy season. It occurs during winter and spring when there is a lot of snow available. Okay. Now sometimes movements in glacier, all right, the slow moving ice is called a glacier. Now in the mountains, the movements of glaciers also sometimes causes disturbances to the nearby, or to the mountains which stand next to it, and that leads, or that causes snow avalanche, or that causes a huge mass or chunk of snow to just slide off the slope of a mountain. Okay. Now with that we have come to the end of this first topic, and here we have some questions that we'll now discuss. So first, the couple of questions are fill in the blanks. Here as you can see, the blanks need to be filled with correct answers. So let's look at them one by one. The first question: the magnitude of earthquake is measured on Richter scale. Alright, the next question. When there has been no rain for several years, dash occur. Forest fire occur. Cyclones are called dash in America. It's called hurricanes in America. A dash is a series of large waves in a water body. A tsunami is a series of large waves in a water body. A dash usually happens along mountain slopes during monsoons. A landslide. The next one: desert is generally formed due to dash over long periods of time, due to droughts. Now the next couple of questions are statements where we have to, after reading, state whether they are true or false. So let's look at them. The first one: nuclear explosion is a natural disaster. False. It's a man-made disaster. The next question: a tsunami is caused by an earthquake under the ocean. This is true. The next question: forest fires are often ignited because of heat and dry weather. This is true. The next question: height of a tsunami wave is less than 100 meters. This is false. They are more than 100 meters. All right. The next question: what are disasters? Disasters are suddenly occurring phenomenon that causes large-scale destruction of life and property. The next question: what is the reason behind the occurrence of earthquakes? The movement, or you can also say the sudden movement of tectonic plates under the Earth's surface is the reason behind the occurrence of earthquakes. All right. The next question: why can't droughts be predicted? Because they are caused by weather conditions human activities change of course of river and other factors. The next question: differentiate between natural and man-made disasters. So let's make two columns. Here we'll put the natural disaster and here we put the man-made disaster. So natural disasters are caused by natural processes. Man-made disasters are caused by human instigations. Example: earthquakes, cyclones, flood, etc. Example: fire, vehicle accidents, industrial accidents, etc.